Hello, and welcome to another episode of TommyTruths. And in this episode, I wanted to talk about the importance of being real. I think vulnerability is something that the church, especially the Western church in the West, can struggle with. And it's not something you often see. Everyone's putting on a nice facade a lot of the time. And vulnerability is something that can be very difficult to us. We're taught by the culture to be these strong, independent people, and there's some good in that, learning to be independent. But then there's also the downside of feeling like you can never ask anyone for help, or feeling like you just can't share your burdens with others. And so I wanted to address that from a biblical perspective, from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2. Verse 8, and it says that where Paul's talking to the church, and basically says that he was delighted, he loved the church so much that he was delighted to not only share the gospel, but also his entire life with the church. And so, I think it's really interesting that he says he loved them so much that he would share his life with them. It's loving to share the gospel to someone. I think we all know that that's an act of love in itself, to share the good news of what Christ has done, and the future that people can have with Christ. But I think we don't maybe often consider that it's also actually an act of love to share your life with someone, to share, to open up to someone, to share not just the good things that are going on in your life, but also maybe the things that you're struggling with, and because that in itself can be an act of love and an act of encouragement to that person. And so, I think that's really, really challenging. Is that, we think, oh no, I don't want to burden this person with by sharing my life. That's just a self-centered thing to do, or we can think of it in those terms, rather than actually, no, you're giving someone the gift of, not to sound arrogant, but you're giving someone a gift of sharing your true self, your humanity with this person. And that can encourage them, because then they can make them feel like they want to also open up about what's going on in their life as well. And so, so I think, on that note, I do want to share maybe a couple of things with you guys that I've been struggling with, have been ongoing struggles in my life. I think one of the biggest ones that jumps to mind is overthinking. I think overthinking is something that I can tend to do very often, and something that has been one of the hardest things to overcome in my life. I think there's some value in thinking very deeply about things, that I'm really grateful that God's given me that ability to analyze and think deeply about things. But there's a danger that I can tend to dwell on things that don't actually produce fruit and can be quite unhelpful. For a while I was dwelling on overthinking my salvation. Like, am I really saved? How do I know I'm saved? How do I know I'm showing fruit in my life? And it just led to know there's nothing that good that came from that sort of spinning and overthinking, the ruminating about that. And so, I've experienced a bit of breakthrough in that area, but then, I can still overthink things like, how people perceive me. I'm like, I hope I didn't come across in that way, or, I hope they didn't think that about me, or, and I'm overthinking those things. And again, there's, even if they were thinking that about, those things, those fears that I might have, of, even if they did misunderstand me, even if they did have those conclusions about me, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's helpful to dwell on that, or to base my sense of worth on what other people think of me. And so, there's some studies have shown, 95% of our fears don't come to pass. And even the 5% that do, we have the power to overcome and to endure with God's help. And so, I think that's just really something that I've needed to work through, is overthinking. I think another thing that I've struggled with is opposite sex friendships. And I think this can maybe relate a bit to the overthinking as well, because it's like, if you're overthinking how maybe the opposite sex might perceive you, and then they may misinterpret that, and they may be wondering why you're freezing up, or why you seem like you're in your head a little bit, or why you seem maybe I might be a bit anxious when I'm overthinking, and so they may interpret that as maybe you're disengaged, or maybe there's maybe you're interested in them, so which may not be the case. Maybe you're just overthinking those things, and so I think opposite sex friendships can be very difficult to navigate. And it's very easy for people to get the wrong end of the stick, to jump to the wrong conclusions about things, and when you tie that with overthinking as well, and then it can be very an interesting mix, where you're trying to engage with the person, but then you're worried about what they might think, or giving them the wrong idea, and then and it could even become a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they may end up reading into things, and then and so it can just be a bit of a vicious cycle sometimes. And so I should just share those two things with you guys, to encourage you that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be working through things, to be struggling through things, because reality is we're all struggling through things, and it's just a matter of who is willing to admit that, because a lot of us, we keep things buried well beneath the surface, and we're too afraid to be real. And so I just want to encourage you that just if you can find people you can trust to share with, even if it's just one person you want to share with, I just encourage you to share things with them. Share how you're really feeling. Share what you're going through. Share what's on your heart. And I found that when you do share, there's a real healing in that. There's a verse that says, when you confess your sins to one another and pray for one another, that you may be healed. And so I think that's an amazing verse, and I've experienced that in my own life, where when I've shared my burdens with close friends, they've understood, and they've listened. I've experienced a real healing in that. And so I want to encourage you guys to just to open up, and to feel like you can be real, and be open about your lives. And God bless you guys. I'll see you guys next time.